Okay, hi guys. I didn't make a video yesterday. I was very, hi cat. I was very tired and my jaw was hurting really bad. Um, so I just didn't do one yesterday, but I'll do one today. I'm going to read the next two chapters of the list. So we'll read chapter 2 and 3. Kahoot, I'm going to air it tomorrow. Or I'm going to release it tomorrow. And I will post when what the code is, and I'll probably do it in a video, a real quick video. It's not live. I'm going to have it so you guys can play it whenever, but I think it would be really awesome if you guys commented your scores at the end of the video tomorrow, which I'll go more into. But definitely, I put some fun questions in there. It's not just English questions, so don't freak out. It's not all boring stuff. There are English questions, but I kind of mixed them up and had some fun ones in there too. Okay. Hang on one second. Let me get into my book. I realized I was in the wrong book. Okay. So, chapter 2. Remember, this book is The List by, I forgot her name. Let me see. I'll make sure I say what her name is. By Siobhan Vivian. I'll post a picture of it on Instagram. But we're on chapter 2. From a block away, Daniela DeMarco realizes that she missed her bus. It is too quiet, especially for a Monday. Nothing in the air but the typical morning sounds, chirping birds, the click, click, click of rising automatic garage doors, the tiny rumble of empty trash cans being dragged back up driveways. Late to school, starving for breakfast, utterly exhausted. Not such a great way to start off the week. But Daniela still thinks last night was worth it. She'd been asleep for 2 hours when her phone rang. Hello? She asked, her words wrapped in a yawn. How can you be sleeping? It's only midnight. Daniela checked that her bedroom door was shut. Her parents wouldn't like Andrew calling so late. They still referred to him as her friend from camp, despite the million times she'd corrected them, as if her boyfriend was a tongue twister. Or maybe that was the thing they worried about, because Andrew was a year older. But for someone her parents lumped in the same category as her best friend, Hope, they certainly had a lot of rules about as her best friend, Hope, they certainly had a lot of rules about when, where, and how Daniela could spend time with Andrew. That had been the hardest part about coming home from Camp Clover Lake, where they'd both worked as counselors this past summer. They'd lost the freedom to hang out when they wanted to talk. There was no more nights of Andrew sneaking through the dark and scratching the screen in the window above her bed. No more taking the paddle boats out to the center of the lake and waiting until the breeze brought them back to the dock. Summer already felt like a million years ago. Daniela pulled her comforter over her head and kept her voice low. Lights out, campers, she teased. Andrew sighed. I'm sorry I woke you. I'm just way too amped up to sleep. I've got tons of adrenaline stored up from the game and no way to get rid of it. Daniela and Hope had watched from the stands that afternoon as Andrew was stuck in perpetual warm-up routine on the sideline while the football field got torn up by the other players' cleats. He'd bounce on his toes, do jumping jacks, or run a sprint of high knee lifts to stay warm. After each play, Andrew glanced over at the varsity football coach, fingers laced around the face guard of his gleaming white helmet. Hopeful. She felt terrible for him. It was the 4th game of the season, and he hadn't seen 1 minute of playing time. What would it have mattered giving the sophomores like Andrew a chance? Mount Washington was losing by 3 touchdowns at halftime. The Mountaineers hadn't won a single game. Well, I thought you looked cute in your varsity jersey, she said. Andrew laughed, but Daniela could tell by the dryness that he was still upset. I'd rather not get called up if I'm not going to see any playing time. Just let me start on JV. It's humiliating standing on the sideline doing absolutely nothing while we get our asses beat game after game. I could have had nachos with you and Hope in the bleachers for all that mattered. Ignore that word. That was not in there. Come on, Andrew. It's still an honor. I bet there are a ton of other sophomores who'd kill to be on varsity. I guess, he said. You know, Chuck got to play the whole second half. I wish I were big like him. We should do more weight room work and maybe try those nasty protein shakes he's always chugging. I'm way too skinny. I'm like the smallest guy on the team. You are not, and anyway, why would you want to be like Chuck? Yeah, he's big, but it's not like he's in good shape. I bet you could run circles around him. Danielle was pretty sure Andrew knew she wasn't crazy about Chuck. Andrew once told her that Chuck had a special shelf for his cologne bottles, which he displayed proudly and wouldn't leave the house without a splash on. Chuck would even put some on before he'd go lift weights in his garage. According to Andrew, Chuck was really grossed out by the smell of sweat, even his own. Andrew considered it. That's true, the dude does eat crap. I don't think Chuck even knows what a vegetable is. Unless it goes on his Big Mac. No wonder he can't get a girlfriend. They both laughed at that. It had taken Danielle a few weeks to understand the way Andrew and his friends acted around each other. These guys were super competitive, but especially Chuck and Andrew. Everything between those two was a rivalry. Grades, new sneakers, who could reach the water fountain first. It seemed to Danielle like normal boy stuff for the most part. But every so often, Andrew would take some stupid loss really hard. Danielle was also competitive, and while she sympathized with Andrew's pangs of defeat, she also never pitied herself against her friends. She didn't even want to think about how sucky it would have been if she or Hope hadn't both made the swim team. That said, Daniela didn't take the special pride in knowing that when it came to the boys having girlfriends, she tipped the scales in Andrew's favor. That's a little vain. Hey, Andrew said, guess what I found out today? Even if I don't play a single minute this season, I still get a varsity jacket. You'll look hot in it, Daniela said. It was kind of a silly thing to say, but she knew it would make Andrew feel better. I don't care about the jacket. It'll just be cool seeing you in it this winter. You're sweet, Daniela said, blushing in the dark. It would be cool to wear Andrew's varsity jacket, at least until she could earn her own. Will you stay on the phone with me a little longer? He said quietly. Daniela fluffed up her pillow, and she and Andrew clicked through the perspective televisions together as their remotes were in sync. They laughed at the bizarre late-night infomercials that populated the cable channels in the middle of the night. Spray-on hair, home gym contraptions that could double for the medieval torture devices, skim remedies for swollen zitty faces, diet pills on an ancient Chinese secret. Daniela fell asleep with herself pressed to her ear, images of before and after flashes in the dark. Her battery died around 4:30 a.m. Her alarm died with it. For love or something pretty close to it, she missed the bus. Daniela reached for her phone to call home when she spotted a notebook laying open in the street, pages fluttering. She picked it up, used it to shield her eyes from the orangey sun. She sees, at a distance of roughly 3 blocks, her school bus bouncing along to the next designated stop. She missed it, but not by much. She lowers her chin and stares out the top of her eyes. A second later, she's running. Her body isn't warm, and she worries about the possibility of pulling a muscle. Chasing down the school bus definitely isn't worth a stupid injury that might keep her out of the water. But after a few strides, Daniela slips into a comfortable rhythm. A pleasant heat ignites her pumping arms, her whirling legs. The school bus stops for a car pulling out in the driveway. Daniela quickly closes the gap. Hey, she calls out when she gets close enough to recognize the students in the back windows. Hey, but the kids are too busy socializing with each other to notice Danielle. The bus accelerates and the cloud puffs out from the tailpipe, stinging her eyes. She veers to the right and centers herself in the driver's side view mirror. She shouts again, and over the roar of the engine, she bangs her fist on the side. The bus slams to a stop. The kids look down at her, shocked. Daniela pushes a few wisps of brown hair out of her face as the folding doors open. You could have gotten killed, the bus driver barks. Daniela apologizes in between heaving deep breaths. She climbs the steps, holding the notebook over her head like a trophy, and waits for someone to claim it. After stashing her coat in her locker, Daniela heads straight to the cafeteria with Hope. She woke up too late to eat breakfast, and there was no way she can last until lunch without food. She passes up the student council bagel sale because carbs make her sleepy and she's tired enough as it is. Hopefully there'll be something in the vending machines besides potato chips and chocolate bars. Daniela has been eating more and more since making freshman swim team, her body always desperate for fuel. She wants to be careful to feed it well. An older boy passes the girls as they enter the cafeteria. "Hey, Dan the man," he says and slaps Daniela on the back. "Was he talking to you?" Hope asked. Daniela is too startled to relax. She tries to get a look at the boy's face to see if maybe she knows him, but he disappears as quickly as he arrived. No clue. The girls continued over to the vending machine. The entire glass front is covered over by papers Daniela assumes is an overzealous school club desperate for members until she pulls a sheet down and reads it. Dan the man, ugliest. A cramp spreads inside her, contracting each and every muscle. To be called ugly is one thing. Of course, Daniela had heard the insult before. Is there a girl in the world who hasn't? And while she certainly isn't happy about it, ugly is something people say about each other and say about themselves without even thinking. The word is so generic, it's almost meaningless. Almost. But the Dan the man thing is different. That hurts, even though Daniela knows she isn't a particularly girly girl. Wearing a dress makes her feel weird, as if she's in a costume pretending to be someone else. She only puts makeup on for the weekends, and even then, only a little bit of gloss and maybe mascara. She's never had her ears pierced because she's deathly afraid of needles. But Daniela still has the essential girl parts. Boobs, long hair, and a boyfriend. Hope rips down a list of her own and sucks in a deep breath, the way she usually does before plunging underwater. "Oh no, Daniela. What is this thing?" Daniela doesn't answer. Instead, she stares at the reflection in the newly exposed square of the vending machine glass. She hadn't had time to shower this morning, so she just threw her hair up in a bun. A haze of short brown strands spiked around her hairline. It shouldn't surprise her. Bits of broken hair filled the inside of her swim cap after every practice. But it does. She tries to smooth them down and with suddenly clammy hands, but the strands pop right back up. She pulls off her elastic and shakes out her hair. It's dry and dull from chlorine and doesn't look like normal hair should. It suddenly looks to Daniela like a bad wig. Daniela turns away from her reflection. She sees the lockers outside the cafeteria also have papers taped to them. She chokes out, "Hope, I think these lists are hanging all over the school." Without further discussion, the two girls leave the cafeteria, split apart, and begin running, one on either side of the hallway. They tear down every single copy of the list they pass. Though Daniela is glad for something physical to do, it is also her second sprint of the morning without any breakfast. She searches deep down inside for the strength to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Like a straw rooting around the bottom of a soda can, she makes it to the end of the hallway and then runs smack into Andrew, who's standing it with a few other sophomore guys from the football team, including Chuck. "Yo, it's Dan," Chuck calls out in a deeper than usual voice. "Dan the man." The boys stare at her and laugh. They've seen the list, which means Andrew has seen it too. "Come on, Andrew," another boy says, giving him a big shove in her direction. "Go give Dan a kiss." "Yeah, we support gay rights," shouts Chuck. Andrew laughs good-naturedly, but as he walks towards Daniela and away from his friend, his smile slips into a look of concern. He leads her into a stairwell. "Are you okay?" he asks, careful to keep his voice quiet. "Not bad considering the sex change operation I apparently had last night." Daniela says a desperate joke to break the tension. Neither of them laugh. She holds up the copies of the list she's torn down. "What is this thing, Andrew?" "It's a stupid tradition. It happens every year at the start of homecoming week." She stares at him. "Why didn't you warn me?" Andrew runs his hands through his hair. It's still light from the summer, but his roots are growing in darker. "Because I never thought you'd be on it, Daniela." This makes her feel better, but not much. "Do you know who wrote it?" Daniela doesn't have a ton of friends, but as far as she knows, she doesn't have any enemies either. For the life of her, she can't think of one person who would hate her enough to do something this mean. Andrew glances at the copies of the list in her hands and quickly shakes his head no. "No, I don't. And look, Daniela, you can't go running around tearing these things down. These lists are everywhere. The whole school knows about it. There's nothing you can do." Daniela remembers the boy who slapped her in the back in the cafeteria, the heat from his hand on her spine. She doesn't want to do the wrong thing. She wants to embarrass herself any more than what already happened. I'm sorry, she says, because that's how she feels for some reason. Tell me what to do. Andrew rubs her arm. People want to see you looking upset. They'll want to see you react. Everybody still talks about this girl Jennifer Brigus and how she freaked out when she got put on the list her freshman year. Trust me, doing the wrong thing now could ruin the rest of high school for you. Danielle's chest gets tight. This is crazy, Andrew. I mean, this is crazy. It's a big mind game. It's like we tell the kids at camp. If you pretend like teasy doesn't bother you, it will eventually stop. So don't give anyone the satisfaction of seeing you upset. You need to be stone cold. He anchors his eyes on her. Game face, okay? She bites her lip and nods, fighting back tears. She knows Andrew can see them, but thankfully he pretends not to. Apparently he has his game face on too. Daniela takes a second to compose herself and follows Andrew out of the stairwell through a few steps behind. Hope stands in the middle of the hallway looking around in panic. She spots Daniela and rushes over to her. Hurry up, Daniela. I grabbed every copy in this hall in the science wing. Let's go check near the gym. She gives Daniela a hug and whispers, don't worry, I swear on my life that we're going to find out who did this and make sure they get what they deserve. Forget it, Hope, Daniela says. She drops the copy she's holding into the trash can. What do you mean? Hope turns around to glance at Andrew, who has rejoined his friends. What did Andrew say? Don't worry, he said all the right things, which is how Daniela feels without a question. Okay, I'm going to stop there because that was a long chapter. We have one more chapter. Chapter 3, and then I will talk about what we're going to do after chapter 3. So the first chapter was about the girl who got voted the prettiest looking girl in the school, and she's so excited and everybody's congratulating her. And chapter 2 is about the girl who gets voted Dan the Man and the ugliest girl in freshman class. So you get to see both their reactions. I'm guessing, I don't know because I haven't read the book, that chapter 3 is about a different person on the list and how they find out what happens to them. So I'm curious what's going to happen. If you have any comments or you have a question or you have any thoughts on the book, or if you like it, don't like it, hate it, you can say all of that stuff in the comments and I can respond or not. Oh yeah, I'm going to, hang on. I have to find my list. I was going to mention a couple of people who've already said something on there. I know that Brian E. Made a lot of comments, and he's definitely going to play Kahoot. I saw Larry say hi to me at one point. What else? Who else said it? Hang on, I'm looking it up right now. Let's see who else has commented. Okay, I'm going to look real quick. Let's see. Dodge Epic wrote that the computer's making him lazy, so he's watching. Oh, Angelica Felix, Angelica F. She picked the list as well as Kahoot, and so did Larry. And then let's see the other video. I know there's some on Instagram, but the other video we've got. Oh, Ruben said hi. And Laura. Oh, that was Brian E. And he was saying hi, and he's been watching. So if you want to comment, guys, because then I do respond to it. Who else? Don't know if anybody else said anything yet. Yeah, there's a couple people who've, Demetrius said something on Instagram. Yeah, so there's a lot of people responding, and it helps when you guys chat on there because then it makes it less boring. And Kahoot tomorrow and a video. And if you have any questions or you need anything, just message me or comment. That's it for today.